Hey guys, this is Jager Illian back again with another video, or should I say my first video. Today we'll be talking about how I fish for catfish. The first thing I do when I'm fishing for catfish is I take just a hook, no sinker, and put a tiny night crawler on, and I try and fish for bluegill, small bluegills that I can either use for cut bait or small enough ones that I can use whole. I typically fish for these in shallow water where there's lots of logs on the bottom so that there's structure for the bait fish to hide from bigger predators. And I typically use a very small hook so that these little bluegills can have the hook get into their mouth, and so I don't just jerk the hook right out of their mouth and it's harder for them to nibble the worm off the hook. And I catch maybe 6 or 7 depending on how long I'll be fishing. Like if I'm just going to fish for a couple hours, I typically catch 6 or 7 bluegills and use them for cut bait a lot of times. I catch the bait, then after that I take it and I cut the head off. And there you go, you've got 2 pieces of bait. I use typically the head and then the rest of the body all as 2 separate baits. And I cast these out with a little egg sinker or split shot, depending on whether I'm fishing in a lake or a pond or a river. If I'm fishing in a river, I'll use a 2 to 3 ounce, even a 4 ounce egg sinker or pyramid sinker to keep that bait in the bottom, because we know that catfish bite only on the bottom. They don't typically bite stuff up on the surface, like a bait that's just getting washed down the stream. After I do that, I cast it into the water, and typically I try and find holes that are right by down trees or rocky riprap bank or bridges, because there's typically holes under bridges. And I cast my bait in there, wait for it to hit the bottom and sink, and hopefully it will stay in spot. And I set my rod propped up on something so that I know when the catfish will bite, and wait for a lot of times an hour or 2 hours. And I'll sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until my line either starts moving downstream. When it was standing still and it's moving downstream, it typically means there's a small fish that's taken your bait. And then I'll reel up the slack till I reel the weight of the fish and set the hook. Now, it's different for me what I do if I got a big one, which typically is my line goes tight really fast and my rod starts bending over like this. And when that happens, I typically wait about 5 seconds, and then I reel in all the slack until I feel what I think is the weight of the fish, and I set the hook really hard. And then I try and reel as fast as I can, but I never reel when the drag is constantly going out, because every time you do that, a lot of times it will get tangled up and be a snarly mess, and it typically causes the fish to break off. And also, I don't just yank it and just start yanking it up onto shore. I try and get the fish tired so that it doesn't break my rod or the line in the last second when I'm trying to land it. And another tip for landing fish is always have a net. I don't know how many times I've had fish get off because I decided I didn't need the net, and it either broke my line or got off the hook because it wasn't hooked very well. Also, and that's all. Yep. Stay tuned for my next video. That will be also tips on how to catch bait for catfish and bass. And then another video I'll be doing is tips on where to look for catfish. Till next time, this is Jager signing out.